Of the Liberia broadcasting system. What a wonderful way to say welcome to Newsline. 1 full hour of all the major news from in about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Today is Friday, August 2, 2024. My name is Emmanuel Khali, and these are the big stories tonight. Government vows to prosecute suspected corrupt officials amid threats coming in from the opposition.
They can call us witch hunter, but the Liberian people will appreciate it. You have to cry for yourself that we decided to bring people with integrity, people that love this country, that want to see a good country. The moment you start doing something else, then you're telling me we made a wrong mistake.
Armed Forces of Liberia discharges Sergeant Giflo Dadu for defrauding several personnel of the force. Monrovia City Court jails 22-year-old man for allegedly murdering another man over jealousy in Montserrat County. In Nigeria, millions of residents in the north placed on a 24-hour curfew amid nationwide protests against the high cost of living. We've got the details of these interesting developments, sports, the weather update, the news and functions, simple Liberian English, all embedded in. Is now and the latest.
President Joseph Boakai says government is not distracted in prosecuting public officials accused of corruption. President Boakai noted no amount of threats from citizens or members of the opposition will undermine government's fight against corruption. The Liberian leader has mandated the justice minister and other judicial actors to dispense justice without fear or favor.
Don't be afraid, Minister of Justice. Just make sure you do the right thing. They will do nothing to you. They just are afraid too. They are even more afraid because they have baggages in their closet.
President Boakai said government will continue to support the empowerment of Justice Ministry in the execution of its mandate. The Liberian leader spoke during the 5th cabinet meeting in Monrovia. President Joseph Boakai has craved more support to empower the security sector. President Boakai believes adequate support to the security forces is crucial to protecting and safeguarding the peace of the country. Speaking at the 5th cabinet meeting in Monrovia, the Liberian leader recommitted government to improving the smooth operations of the security system.
They are all human beings. You can call them soldiers, police, and all. They are human beings. They have responsibility. They have their children, and we have to provide for them. And the way we do that is to make sure we use the resources of the country properly.
President Boakai also called for the proper maintenance of the country's natural resources to benefit the lives of citizens. He urged members of his cabinet to be a driving force in ensuring that government's goals are achieved. The Armed Forces of Liberia has discharged Sergeant Giflo Dadu for defrauding several personnel of the force. He was discharged for engaging in fraudulent financial activities that robbed several AFL personnel. A release said Sergeant Dadu robbed several officers of the Army for more than 100,000 United States dollars. The release added that Dadu was investigated, charged, tried, and found guilty by the Armed Forces of Liberia Disciplinary Board. Meanwhile, the High Command of the Armed Forces of Liberia has reassured the public of its commitment to maintaining discipline and professionalism as a force for good. Monrovia City Court has jailed a 22-year-old man identified as Solomon Sano over murder allegation. In 2021, suspect Sano allegedly stabbed Junior Sambola to death between Kerry and Newport streets out of jealousy. The murder suspect has been on the run following the commission of the act for past 3 years. Police investigations also revealed that Catherine alias Rich Girl, the lover of Solomon Sano, said to be engaged in commercial sex in Monrovia and surrounding areas. Deputy Gender Minister for Gender Attorney Laura Goloke says the ministry will collaborate with the Women NGO Secretariat of Liberia to respond to SGBV in the country. Minister Goloke urged the Women NGO Secretariat to put in place a gender based violence information management system to enhance the fight against SGBV. She spoke Friday in Monrovia during the presentation of SGBV medical books to the Ministry of Health.
The ministry cannot do all, so we really looking forward to working with all of you to hopefully win the fight against gender-based violence.
Minister Goloke recognized the impact of the Women NGO Secretariat in the fight against SGBV in the country. Meanwhile, the Deputy Gender Minister believed teamwork is the best way to reduce gender based violence. UN Women has concluded 3-day training aimed at improving digital skills to enhance civic engagement and peace building. It brought together several participants from Montserrado and Lofa counties. The training was organized with funding from UN Peace Building Fund through Youth Promotion Initiative. The program specialist of UN Women, Goma Kalowie, disclosed the initiative is a 2-year project aimed at harnessing digital opportunities for youth in the country. Meanwhile, the participants lauded UN Women for the training and called for more support to unleash their potentials. A Liberian entrepreneur, Fumba Trawale, has received the Global Creative Blacks Award for his remarkable leadership in the field of business. Mr. Trawale shares the Matcha Design Agency's 2023 Creative Blacks Awards with other high profile Blacks individuals, including Michelle Obama and Oprah Winfrey, among others in different fields. The global recognition of the National Toiletries CEO as an accomplished Black entrepreneur coincides with Black History Month. Speaking to reporters in Painesville Friday in response to the awards, Mr. Trawale dedicated the recognition to Liberia and Liberians.
That should tell you that the country that you and I are from, it is a very important country. It's a country of success, it's a country of peace, it's a country of encouragement.
Mr. Trawale said the award gives him more motivation and encourage every Liberian in business and other sectors to keep pushing to get better. The Liberian chapter of the Manu River Union Youth Parliament wants the opposition community desist from making statements counterproductive to the advancement of the country. The Speaker of the Liberia chapter of the MRU Youth Parliament, Daniel Niels, said the continuous use of counterproductive statements has the propensity to undermine the tenets of democracy. Mr. Niels noted constructive criticism and healthy political conversations are essential to supporting the rule of law.
To the opposition community, we ask you to refrain from making statements that are counterproductive to the peace of this nation, and also from statements that may have the propensity to undermine the legal process in battling corruption. We ask you to remain strictly on the path of the law.
He also lauded government for ongoing efforts to fight corruption as well as ensure accountability and transparency. The Speaker of Liberia chapter of MRU Youth Parliament made a statement Thursday in Monrovia. The National Port Authority and its board of directors have condemned decision by the Senate to grant outstation ports autonomy status. Recently, the Senate's Committee on Public Cooperation and Transport, following an assessment, recommended that various ports, including the Port of Buchanan, Harper, and Greenville, be given autonomy. But a release quotes the MPA board as saying the move by the Liberian Senate has the propensity to undermine the act creating the National Port Authority. It argues that the National Port Authority was established by an act of the National Legislature in 1967 and amended in 1970 as a state-owned corporation to manage, plan, and build all public ports in Liberia. The NPA board said the act creating the NPA gives it the authority to serve as a regulatory body overseeing the operations of the free ports of Monrovia, the ports of Buchanan, Greenville, and Harper. According to the NPA release, the Senate's move to grant autonomy to outstation ports categorically undermines and disregards the distinct roles and responsibilities of the National Port Authority to regulate and supervise all the ports. Meanwhile, the NPA Board of Directors has called on the legislature to rescind its decision, adding that decentralization can happen without necessarily granting autonomy to outstation ports. At the same time, the Board of Directors of the National Port Authority says it is taken aback by the Senate's assertion that the inefficiency of certain ports in Liberia is due to the centralization of their operations. The NPA board described claims that port autonomy is geared toward providing jobs to locals in the outstation port areas as false and misleading. According to the NPA board, over 95% of existing employees at those outstation ports are qualified residents of counties who are currently employed by the NPA. The NPA board said the Senate's Joint Committee's recommendation to the president is issue an executive order to give the NPA operational control over outstation ports contravenes the act creating the National Port Authority. The National Port Authority's board stated that the management of NPA headed by Sekou Dukle has displayed unwavering dedication and commitment to the advancement of all ports under the National Port Authority. Meanwhile, the NPA board has urged the legislature to provide budgetary allocations that will help buttress the efforts of the NPA management in addressing some of the infrastructure and operational problems faced at outstation ports. Gender Minister Gwema Horace Colley has underlined the importance of empowering young women and girls in advocating for their rights. Minister Colley said the empowerment of women and girls will be necessary tools and knowledge for them to challenge inequalities and advocate for justice. She spoke Thursday in Monrovia at the inaugural cohort of the Young Human Rights Advocates Program organized by Messengers of Peace.
The Ministry of Gender finds this initiative a very great interest because it aligns perfectly with the government's ongoing effort to promote rights-based initiatives aimed at addressing sexual and gender-based violence.
Minister Colley extolled Messengers of Peace for its commitment to empower young people across Liberia and to promote human rights through the media. Meanwhile, the executive director of Messenger of Peace, Gwendolyn Myers, has disclosed the project will be implemented in 18 months in Montserrado, Magibi, Grand Bassa, Bon County, and Nimba counties. The Security Expert Guard Agency of Liberia, SIGAL, has launched a customized protective security gadget at the Metal Liberia concession in Buchanan, Grand Bassa County. The materials valued over 500,000 United States dollars include uniforms, stun guns, boots, pepper spray, PR-24 batons, and torchlights, among others. The security manager of SIGAL, Dave Freeman, said the new devices are intended to boost the morale of officers in fighting crimes at their assignments. In remarks, the administrator of security at the Metal, Doyen Dagba, said SIGAL has been a trusted partner over the years in protecting the facilities of the company. Madam Dagba challenged SIGAL officers to use the gadgets in ensuring that company's properties are well protected. She spoke recently at the Metal Liberia concession area in Buchanan, Grand Bassa County. And police in Grand Cape Mount County have arrested one Soko Dolly for allegedly stabbing his fiancée to death. Suspect Dolly reportedly committed the act recently in Gold Camp, Grand Cape Mount County, after accusing his fiancée of having extra affair with a Turkish national. Our correspondent quotes witnesses as saying the incident occurred when the woman and the Turkish national had gone out. According to our correspondent, the woman is a resident of District 17, Montserrado County.
The news bulletin with Grace Towel. Grace will make a return later on with our international development and the weather update. You're listening to Newsline on ELBC Radio. Today is Friday, August 2, 2024. One of the big stories tonight, government vows to prosecute suspected corrupt officials amid threats coming from the opposition. On today, the Ministry of Gender urged the Women NGO Secretariat of Liberia to put in place gender-based violence information management system to enhance the fight against SGBV. Deputy Gender Minister for Gender, Attorney Laura Golekin, made a call Friday at the Gender Ministry when the NGO Secretariat presented the SGBV medical bills to the Ministry of Health.
to fight gender-based violence.